Although we are still in the 2025 offseason, today I wanted to take a look ahead at the 2026 offseason, primarily the upcoming free agents for the Green Bay Packers in 2026. And I wanted to take a look ahead at this because I think the draft class the Packers just drafted has a lot to do with who is an impending free agent in 2026. And compared to last year, the 2026 free agent class for the Green Bay Packers is a hefty one. There are a ton of important players that are on the last year of their rookie contracts for the Packers after this next season in 2025. So I wanted to take a look at all the impending free agents for next offseason. Of course, we still have this entire offseason, this entire next season in 2025, but I just wanted to take a future look and kind of give my insight, my thoughts on what players I think could be returning, or what players I think the Packers will probably let walk next offseason. Guys, if you happen to be a new viewer to this channel and want to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers this offseason, I'd highly suggest going down and clicking the subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do. A lot of people don't even realize that they're not subscribed to the channel, and it supports the channel a ton. There'll be endless Packers content this offseason, of course, with OTAs right around the corner. You don't want to miss any of those highlights, updates, and all of that. So definitely turn on post notifications as well. All right, so now let's dive into it. So the Packers' recent draft class, I think, was very indicative of what's to come for the Green Bay Packers, and you'll see why here. You know, drafting 2 wide receivers in the first 3 rounds, drafting a couple edge rushers, drafting 2 offensive linemen that have tackle experience, I think is very telling of which direction this roster is going in terms of free agents or in terms of players that are going to be in for big paydays that maybe the Packers aren't willing to pay for some of these players. So bringing up the screen, we'll start at the top with the players that had the most amount of snaps played in 2024, and that's with Rasheed Walker, Zack Tom, and Sean Rhyan, and even Quay Walker there. So those are 4 starters from the 2024 season. Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Zack Tom at right tackle, Sean Rhyan at right guard, although it says left tackle, Quay Walker at linebacker, and even if you go further, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Kingsley Enagbare. You know, outside of Enagbare, all of these players, the top 6 players, were starters in the 2024 season, and all of them outside of Christian Watson, who will start on the PUP, could be starters yet again in the 2025 NFL season. Now, let me start at the top with Rasheed Walker, a 26-year-old left tackle, former 7th-round pick out of Penn State, has been very affordable because he was a 7th-round pick. He would actually be his highest cap number this season at $3.4 million, and this has been a big topic of discussion lately for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, what are they going to do with Rasheed Walker? They believe Jordan Morgan, they brought him in first round last year. They believe his projection is at left tackle. So what does that do for Rasheed Walker? Then this year, we go through yet another draft, and in the second round, we draft Anthony Belton, who played 3 years at left tackle. So really all signs are pointing to that the Packers are going to allow Rasheed Walker to walk. I don't think they're willing to pay him the money that he's going to be able to command on the open market, especially when you also have Zack Tom as an impending free agent. I think right now, Zack Tom is at the top of their list in terms of free agents that they're looking to strike an extension with. So right now, Rasheed Walker, I don't think they're thinking about giving him a mega extension. And I think their mind was made up on this the moment Dan Moore signed with Tennessee this offseason. Dan Moore, an okay tackle, nothing great, got paid $82 million, $20.5 million average per year, $42 million guaranteed, over 50% of that money guaranteed. And that's for Dan Moore. Rasheed Walker is better than Dan Moore. He will command more money than Dan Moore on the open market. So the Packers would have to pay Rasheed Walker over, say, $21 million annually, and then also probably make Zack Tom the highest paid right tackle in the league. I just really don't foresee that happening, considering they drafted Jordan Morgan. They view him as a left tackle. I think they view Anthony Belton as a guard, but hey, what if Jordan Morgan starts excelling at right guard? Then they go, okay, well, we still have Anthony Belton. He can play left tackle for us, right? I don't really see Rasheed Walker in the future plans of the Green Bay Packers. I thought about them potentially trading him in 2025, but at the same time, there's no real need to. You go through 2025 with the same left tackle you've had for the past couple of years. You keep that continuity on the offensive line while Jordan Morgan has more time to learn, or Anthony Belton. Trading Rasheed Walker, yeah, might net you a slightly higher draft pick, but if Rasheed Walker leaves in free agency and gets paid Dan Moore plus money, they're going to net a third-round compensatory pick anyways from him leaving and getting paid that much. So they're going to get something back for Rasheed Walker, even if they keep him on the roster through 2025. But this has been something that has been a huge topic lately. It's just like, what are they going to do with Rasheed Walker? It seems like every time they talk about offensive line, they always say there's a competition at left tackle, and they like Rasheed, but they're going to give Jordan Morgan a chance. They talk very highly of a lot of other linemen, such as Zack Tom, Elton Jenkins, Jordan Morgan, but it seems like every time they talk about Rasheed Walker, it's kind of there's going to be some competition there. So I really think this will be Rasheed Walker's last year in Green Bay, and they're not going to pay him the money he's going to command like some other team around the league will definitely pay him. Because next in line is Zack Tom at right tackle. He's also an unrestricted free agent drafted in the same draft as Rasheed Walker, 27 years old, only making $1 million average per year right now. And when you take a look at the right tackle market, I think Zack Tom's going to beat all of these. I think Zack Tom's going to be paid more than Penei Sewell and Tristan Wirfs. He could even hit $30 million average per year. It's a lot of money, but Zack Tom is by far our best offensive lineman. He is one of the best tackles in the entire NFL. The guy is extremely versatile, and you can depend on him. And he locks down premier edge rushers at that right tackle spot. And that wasn't even his position coming into the NFL. The guy played left tackle, some guard. He also played some center at Wake Forest. So the fact that he just plugged right into right tackle and became one of the best in the league at it speaks a lot to the type of player that he is. And the Packers are going to give him a mega deal, and I expect that to happen soon. They're not going to wait until after the season. There's no way they're going to do that. I expect a Zack Tom extension before training camp. That's what I really think is going to happen, and I think he's going to be then the highest paid right tackle in NFL history, and that's, again, another reason why I don't see them bringing back Rasheed Walker. Then we have Rhyan. Now, they have him listed as a restricted free agent. He's not. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent, third-round pick out of that same exact draft. I mean, we drafted 3 linemen in that draft class, and all of which have become starters for the Packers, right? Rhyan is an interesting one. They're going to let this one ride out. They're going to wait until after the season and then assess that situation, because after the season, either Jordan Morgan or Anthony Belton may be starting at right guard, and Rhyan might just be a depth rotational guard. They might not even play him much at all this season, depending on how training camp goes. So Rhyan could be brought back as a depth lineman piece for very cheap. But if Rhyan plays a significant amount of snaps to start this season, say 50% of the snaps this entire season, I think another team will go out and sign Rhyan, kind of similar to how the Giants signed Jon Runyan, maybe pay him $5 to $6 million per year. And that's not going to be something the Packers are willing to pay with the drafting of Anthony Belton, the signing of Aaron Banks, obviously Jordan Morgan as well. You also have Jacob Monk. You have a couple undrafted free agents, one this year in Tyler Cooper, last year in Donovan Jennings. There's a lot of available depth there. So it's going to be interesting to see how 2025 plays out for Rhyan, but I don't see him commanding a ton of money on the market regardless. Now, he played in 88.8% of the snaps last season, but now there's 2 new guards on this roster in Belton and Banks, so a lot of competition down there. Quay Walker is another interesting one. They declined his 5th-year option, whereas they accepted Devontae Wyatt's 5th-year option. So I think this year for Quay Walker, it's going to depend on availability. Does Quay Walker suffer more injuries in 2025, right? So if Quay Walker has a full season and plays well, I fully see the Packers bringing him back. Even if he has an injured season, then you sign him to a 1-year extension, a prove-it deal in year 5. And that's why I think they didn't accept his 5th-year option, because it's fully guaranteed. And Quay Walker has had injury concerns and also some inconsistencies in his game. Now, he got better last year as the year went on, as he learned the 4-3 scheme under Jeff Hafley with the green dot on his helmet. It definitely got better, but then, of course, he suffered the injury. Edgerrin Cooper is obviously the future at inside linebacker, but Quay Walker definitely entering a year where, this is going to be if he gets paid or if he doesn't. If he has a full healthy season, plays well, he could get paid by the Packers or another team that's going to offer more. But the Packers, depending on what we see also from Tyron Hopper, could move on from Quay Walker. He's an interesting one. I think they're going to see how 2025 plays out. Then we move to the wide receivers. And this is why I think the Packers drafted 2 receivers, is because Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson are both impending free agents for the 2026 offseason. Now, let me start off by saying if Christian Watson doesn't play at all in 2025 and he remains on the PUP, his contract actually gets extended by a year because he didn't accrue a season because he didn't play at all and he didn't practice at all in 2025. Now, I think he will return at some point. I think he's ahead of schedule right now. I think he will return by week 12. But if that, for some reason, doesn't happen, he has some setbacks and he remains on the PUP the entire year, then Christian Watson is still under contract for 2026. But as it stands now, he's an impending free agent for 2026, and so is Romeo Doubs. I mean, Romeo Doubs, in all fairness, could be traded before the season even starts. So not really sure what's going to happen with Romeo Doubs. Christian Watson, I would like to believe they'd bring him back. I think they really think highly of Christian Watson, even though they drafted Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, and it looks like Matthew Golden is the replacement of Christian Watson's speed, and Savion Williams is the replacement of Christian Watson's, contested catch ability. So the Packers are definitely planning for the future without Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, but I think they would welcome him back for the right price. We'll just have to see how 2025 goes with his recovery from the ACL. Then if he does get back on the field, how that looks as well. Did he lose a step? Is he not, as explosive as he once was? The receiver position is very interesting, so I'm glad the Packers went and drafted 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds in Golden and Savion Williams. I also just released a tape review, tape breakdown deep dive of Matthew Golden on my channel yesterday. If you want to go watch that, click the link right above. Very interesting video there. Kingsley Enagbare is an edge player that saw 50% of snaps last season, still 26 years old. I know a lot of people are high on him, but the Packers also drafted 2 edge players in this draft class in Barron Sorrell and Colin Oliver. And JJ Enagbare is a very streaky, inconsistent player. Some games, he's your best edge rusher. Some games, he's invisible. So I think he's still going to get a rotation in 2025, but he's going to take a back seat to Lucas Van Ness. I think the Packers are investing highly in Lucas Van Ness having a breakout year 3 under new defensive line coach DeMarcus Covington, and I believe they think that they will see that jump out of Lucas Van Ness. So Enagbare probably take a lot less snaps than he saw last year at this 46%, not to mention adding Barron Sorrell, Colin Oliver, who will take up some of those snaps, Brenton Cox Jr., who was very impressive late last season. So Enagbare, in my honest opinion, will play out 2025 as a rotational piece, could even be traded before this season, and then will go his separate way, and will probably sign with some other team next offseason. Daniel Whelan is a restricted free agent. They'll bring him back. Matt Orzech is an unrestricted free agent. Maybe we finally move on from Matt Orzech after the season. I would love that. Emmanuel Wilson is a restricted free agent, and Bo Melton's an exclusive rights free agent. I feel like every single year Bo Melton's an exclusive rights free agent. We'll see if he makes the 53-man roster to begin with this season, so not going to project too much with him. Emmanuel Wilson should make the roster and should remain on the roster, considering he's a restricted free agent, and the Packers obviously think highly of Marshawn Lloyd. I think he will become running back number 2 under Josh Jacobs, but Emmanuel Wilson's still a very solid piece at running back. Ben Sims, restricted free agent. He should make the roster this year, then we'll see what happens in 2026. Malik Willis is an unrestricted free agent after this season. This is an interesting one as well, because if Jordan Love misses any time in 2025 and Malik Willis has to step in for a game or 2 and does the same thing we saw last year, or even if that doesn't happen, I think some random team around the league is going to pay Malik Willis some money to come in and compete for a starting position. He's obviously not going to compete for any starting position on the Green Bay Packers, but he could command money elsewhere. And if that's the case, maybe the Packers net a 5th-round compensatory selection when Malik Willis, after this next season, signs with some random team like the Raiders, and they pay him $12 to $15 million to go compete for a starting quarterback position. It very well could happen. So that's an interesting one. I don't see the Packers bring him back for a lot of money if another team's going to pay him. We also have Chris Brooks at running back, restricted free agent. I really like him. Best pass protector we have at running back, and I think the Packers are definitely going to retain him this year and likely the year after that. Isaiah Simmons, very interested to see how his 2025 goes for the Packers if he makes the roster. I think he will. Just based on what you can do with that guy. Malik Heath, restricted free agent. Brenton Cox Jr., restricted free agent. So Brenton Cox Jr. will definitely be back. What they tender him as will depend on how he plays in 2025 and how much he plays. Then we have Aaron Mosby, who is going to fight for probably a practice squad spot at this point on this roster. Zane Anderson should make the roster just based on special teams. He'll be a restricted free agent. And that's really the list of important free agents for 2026. There's a few more down there, some depth guys, practice squad guys, rotational guys, but the main ones obviously here at the top with the snap share. It's going to be interesting to see what the Packers do with both of their tackles. Like, we know they're bringing back Zack Tom, Tom, but how much money. And I think the writing's on the wall for Rasheed Walker. But let me know down in the comments below what you think is going to happen with Rasheed Walker. What do you think the outlook is for the Packers offensive line in 2026? And also give your list of importance in the comments. What's like your list of importance for the Packers free agency in 2026? Is it number 1, re-sign Zack Tom? Then number 2, re-sign Quay Walker? Let me know down in the comments below what you think this Packers 2026 free agency class will shape out as. Appreciate you guys coming by to the channel. Just wanted to dive down into this to give you guys a look or what to expect or prepare for after this next season, but still got an entire off season and also an entire season to enjoy before we even have to worry about this. But appreciate you guys coming by. Leave a like down below if you did enjoy the video. I'll catch you on the next one, and as always, go Pack Go.